Today's arrangement uses a beautiful blush pink, silver and white colour combination. If this is something that you would like to learn how to do, then keep watching today's video. Welcome back to another tutorial. Now today's container has a narrow neck on the top, so I've had to be quite creative with working out a way to attach some floral foam to the top. So what I've actually done, to get rid of that water, is I've used the base of a little compote bowl. Now this is a plastic dish. Two parts connect together to make what I would describe as about a 1980s container, and I'll link it here so you can see what the picture looks like. And I've hot glued it onto a plastic dish to give me a better, bigger surface area to hold my floral foam. And then what I'm going to do is add some floral fix around the outside just to hold that into place. But before I do that, I'm going to attach my foam to the top container. So really I've got two containers. I've got a plastic dish on the top which is holding my foam, and then I've got that green base one that is going to sit comfortably into the vase itself. Now this vase has come from Tesco. It's one of their home decor vases and it's quite a trendy colour. There's a bit of a blush pink to it, and I'm going to be reusing the flowers from this arrangement here. So you have seen the flower combination before. I have different greenery to go with it, but that now is going to give me a much bigger piece of foam to hold all of my flowers. Sometimes when you see a container in a shop and you're not quite sure how it's going to work, you've got to think a bit outside the box. So what I'm going to do now is use some floral fix on the top of the container. Now my hands are a bit wet, and you shouldn't really use floral fix while your hands are wet. So I'm hoping that's going to stick on there. Otherwise I'm going to look really silly in today's tutorial, and that's really nicely going to fit on top there. It's quite secure. If you're just a home flower arranger and you're doing this as a hobby and you're not moving it anywhere, that'll be okay as it is. If you're a commercial florist and you're transporting it, I would probably take some tape over the top onto this container as well. But what that does is it adds added mechanics for you to hide. I very much pondered on the shape of the arrangement that I was going to do. I considered going vertical, but I've decided I'm going to go horizontal, and I'm going to go traditional, and I'm going to go symmetric, so the proportions are equal on both sides. It's going to be a front-facing design, and I'm going to reuse those two silver candles that we've seen a couple of times before. And because it's a front-facing arrangement, I'm going to place the candles at the back of my foam. So if I just turn that sideways, you'll see that I'm set back in the foam. So that's the back of my arrangement. This will be the front of the arrangement. And what I'll need to work on is covering this bottom section here to make sure you can't see the plastic dish or the underneath of my container. Now, because it's a symmetrical arrangement, I need to come out equally on both sides. And I'm going to use a greenery that I don't think I've used yet on the channel. This is a variety of yew, and it's really quite straight, very formal looking, and I've cut two pieces to a similar height. And what I've roughly gauged is 1.5 times the height of my container, because that will give me fairly good proportions for the size of my container. And I'm going to go really quite horizontal, a little bit like wings at the moment, on either side. Now if that greenery was more softer, like a eucalyptus, you would have more of a crescent shape, but this has come out quite severe on both sides. And I'm going to reuse the flowers from that previous design. That's just a bit of greenery that I'm popping in at the back, which is the bottom parts of the yew. So that creates the length, and what we're looking to do is have it equal on either side and matching on either side. So it's a very traditional arrangement, symmetrical and balanced on both sides. And I've also got some artificial fern. Now this is a sort of, well, it's a bit of a cross between a gold and a silver, but I like the colour match with my base. So I'm going to add these two in on either side. They're going to connect nicely with the colour of my base and hopefully prevent the design looking like it's got two wings. It's very severe at the moment, but it'll all work together towards the end. And then with the piece that I've got left, I'm going to cut it into two and arrange it more towards the middle, because then that will connect the two colours together on the outside. So rather than this having these two arms, the colour link in the middle will help to connect them. Now it's really very severe at the moment, and maybe not to everybody's liking, but stick with me because I'm sure you'll really like it by the end. Now if you haven't been here before, if you haven't watched one of my videos, then my name is Sharon. Welcome, it's lovely to see you. I also have a private Facebook group called Sharon's Innovations Group. Don't look for me as an individual, just search for Sharon's Innovations Group, and there you will find other like-minded flower arrangers who like to share photos and talk about floral designs. And when I'm not too busy, I like to share some hints and tips on there about floral design as well. So I've connected the front part of the arrangement by using the same type of greenery that's on the outside, and because these are really very severe, they're like two really severe horizontal lines, I'm going to add in some of those little snowy branches that you will have seen in that previous arrangement, and I'm going to try and get those as similar as I can on either side. I'm not too worried if they're not perfectly matching. If you're somebody that likes symmetry and you really like to have that perfect balance on either side, then you might want to find two pieces that match. But I'm okay with two pieces that are similar but not perfect. What I don't like is that one is going upwards. So I'm just going to move that and face it downwards. And what I forgot to mention is that I'm back in the foam with some of the greenery to give me that depth. And I've got more placements at the front where the greenery gives me the width of the design. And then just a few little bits in between, again just to connect one side to the other. Now if you're doing traditional floral design, what is on the left should be on the right and should be in the middle. Connecting it together, really vital, very important. And because I've got that white snowy branch on the outside, I'm also going to bring it towards the front. And I'm also going to use some of this lovely grevillea. So this is the dyed grevillea. The painted grevillea is painted and dyed is different. Painted literally means it's been in a big vat of paint. It's been dipped in the paint and pulled back out. Dyed generally means it's been put in coloured water to change the colour. And to cover the rest of the foam, I don't want to use any more of those big pieces of the yew that's on the outside because it's very pointed and quite rigid. So instead I'm going to use the shorter bits of the Nordman pine that I used in that previous arrangement, and I'm going to angle them downwards at the front because I need to try to cover that foam. Now remember, you're looking at this from a slightly lower position than I am, so I'm going to try really hard to cover that before I move on. But short little bits all towards the middle, radiating out from the centre, and then slightly longer pieces just out towards the end, so that colour is carried all the way through. And if you haven't got mixed greenery like I have, then you can just use the same foliage, pointed greenery if you can towards the outside, or thinner greenery and bigger foliage towards the middle. And in that last video that I linked at the beginning, I had small short pieces of pittosporum. For some reason the name for this keeps going from my brain, but this is pittosporum. This has a very delicate iridescent spray from the silver spray can, just as a token colour to link with those candles on the top. But what I'm looking to do is to, as best as possible, link the colours together and make sure that we really spreading out all the different colours and the varying textures. Now if you haven't been here before, then you need to subscribe to the channel. You need to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you can be told every time I upload a new tutorial. And I would advise you to stay right to the end of the video because there are some gorgeous photographs of the finished design and close-ups of the individual flowers. And just while I've been talking, I finished the back by covering it in foliage so there's no chance of that foam drying out. You could easily do this as an all-round arrangement and do the same front and back, but I'm doing this as a front-facing design. Fantastic for an altar or for a sideboard at home. You could put it on the centre of the mantelpiece as well, so quite a versatile one to do. And you can also do this without the candles, or you could put a Christmas decoration in the middle, Father Christmas, or a nice snowman there to create a nice theme. Now my centre flower on this arrangement is going to be this lovely lily, and I have used this in the previous arrangement, and when I took it apart the larger head snapped off, so I'm going to have to put these in as 2 individual pieces. But the lily is a really large flower, so it needs to be more towards the middle, and I need to leave plenty of room around it so that it can fully open and it doesn't get damaged while it's opening. So just going to tuck that one underneath. Now quite often with a lily I put it in last because there's a good chance that it's going to get damaged by putting other flowers in and out. But I wanted that in now so that you could see the focal point. And then what I'm going to do with my chrysanthemum blooms, they're the bigger flower, and the bigger flower should be towards the middle. Don't do what a lot of beginners do when they're first learning floral design and put the bigger flowers towards the outside. What that does is it draws your eye outwards and not in towards the middle. In towards the middle is where the focal flowers are, and in towards the middle is your dominant section of the arrangement. And if you want to learn more about elements and principles of design, then I have a handy ebook that you can buy over on Amazon. Now I'm filming this currently in December, so I'm hoping that that ebook will be on my website in the new year. And it is linked in the description box right at the very end. So if you want to understand the elements and principles of design, which are the rules we tend to use when we're creating arrangements, then there's a really good ebook over there for you. And I'm hoping that if January is quiet, I might even be able to get that into print. Fingers crossed. So there are just 2 of the chrysanthemum blooms. I can't put a third one in because it will make it unbalanced. If I didn't have such a big lily, I would probably put it in the back here. So it doesn't really suit the front of the arrangement. But rather than waste it, I'm going to pop it in just behind those candles there, and it'll add a little bit of extra weight to the back of the arrangement. It's not going to be seen, but it's better than wasting it. Now my container and the lily does have a very pale pink, almost like a nude pink or a dusky sort of rose gold pink. So I am going to use some of the Lysianthus in a minute. But before I do that, I'm going to add in a flower that I haven't used for a little while. This is a commercially available Veronica. This is a flower that's generally available from a flower shop. Sometimes it comes in mixed bunches in the supermarket, but that lovely line effect is going to work really nicely on the outside. So I've got 5, or I might even have 6 all together. So we're going to start with 2 on the outside, 2 on either edge. That's going to create a really lovely tapered effect at the end of my arrangement. If you don't have anything like the Veronica, then a spray carnation or a spray rose will work quite well. But remember that those smaller flowers, pointy flowers if you can, work better on the outside. So that's 2 on this side of the arrangement, which I think is the right when you're looking at it, and just 1 so far on there. And then I'm going to add in the second one. And this really is a symmetrical design. What is on the left is on the right. And it's almost like a mirrored image if you split it down the middle. And then with the final 2 that I've got, I'm going to bring them more towards the centre. And I'm really going to create this in a perfect mirror. It's not my choice of arranging because I think it tends to look a bit artificial. But I'm sure there are many of you that like this matching sort of style. So we've got 2 in the middle, either side the candle. Remember not to go too close to your candle if you're planning on lighting it. And then I'm looking for some longer pieces of the Lysianthus. These aren't going to be perfectly matching because there's no way am I going to find 2 perfect ones on one stem. But this is going to extend the colour out from the centre. Now the pink of the lily is probably not showing up very much on the camera, which is a good reason why you need to stay to the end, because then you will see all the lovely colours of the individual flowers in close-up photos at the end of the video. But the reason I've picked this soft, dusky sort of pink is because it connects really nicely with the lily in the centre. And now what I'm doing is trying to balance out the colour as much as I can so that it's coming from this side all the way through the middle and over to the opposite side. And that hopefully makes a good symmetrical arrangement. I've got a couple of extra bits to use up. So we need the colour in the centre. And what I'm going to do right at the centre is push them down quite low on the foam. This is called recession. Helps to create depth. But it links the colour from side to side, but also leaves enough room for that lily to open up without it getting squashed together. And then I can add some taller pieces up at the back on either side. Well, that design is coming together really nicely. Now when you're on top of an arrangement, it's hard to see how symmetrically balanced the design is. So always step away every now and again and have a look at it from a few paces back. I'm going to add in a couple more of the Lisianthus just to make sure that I've got an even colour balance. I'm also going to add one right at the back here where the lily is, because that colour pink hasn't been brought towards the back of the arrangement. You might not pick that up on camera because it is quite far back, but I need to get the colour all the way through to create some depth. If we think about this Lisianthus here, there's not one matching on that side there, so I'm going to add an extra one in. But bear in mind that if you like a design that's not quite so matchy and isn't quite so perfect on either side, you don't have to worry about them being in exactly the right position. I know it's hard when you're a beginner because you think that things are supposed to be perfect on either side and matching on either side. But if you think about a tree in the garden or a shrub that's growing, never is the left and right hand side the same. So it doesn't matter if your floral design isn't perfectly matching. Now I'm just going to add in 2 pieces of greenery on this sort of area here behind this flower here, because I think it looks a bit flat. So 2 pieces on either side are going to frame those flowers and give me a better outline shape. And then I'm going to finish off with those sparkly Christmas decorations that we've already seen. The colour link on these is really lovely. And I'm going to start with 2 on the outside edge, the 2 longer ones, and then I can bring that colour through the middle. Now, an arrangement should always be 3-dimensional. It should have height, and it should have length, and it should have a front and a back, which gives you the depth. An arrangement should never be flat. So if we look at it from that position there, or maybe there, that might be a bit better. You can see that it has a definite frontal back. It has volume, depth, it's fat. It's not a skinny little design that looks like it's been pushed up against the wall. And when it's in a raised container like this, it's really important that you have actual weight of flowers and foliage at the back. Otherwise it'll tip forward and it'll all fall apart. Now I don't have enough of these to make them perfectly matching on either side, but that's the best I can do. I think that is absolutely stunning, and this would really benefit from sitting on top of a silver placemat to connect nicely with my candles at the top. A great design for a mantelpiece. You could put it on top of the hearth, just in front of the fireplace if it's not being used. And it's a different colour combination to your reds and greens, but very pretty for Christmas. Don't forget, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell to be told every time I upload a new tutorial. Like, share and comment, and come back next time for another tutorial. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.